we're back with another vlog every day in August. I have to be careful not to say April because since I did it last time, it was April 2 years ago, but April, so August! Woohoo! Anyways, once again, recording in advance, but today's video is going to be my top 5-ish favorite-ish anime! I will also be posting a video about me learning Japanese and essentially watching anime, coming across anime in junior high was why I became interested in that. So figured I should finally do a video on some of my favorite anime. So without further ado, number 5 is Your Lie in April. So this is the most recent anime that is on my list. It is my background on my tablet, which is super bright and glary. Anyways, to give a brief synopsis-ish without too much spoiler of any kind, there's this kid who used to be a brilliant pianist, and his mom was his piano teacher and super amazing pianist too, supposedly, and she dies. And from the time that she dies on, he just can't play the piano anymore. Essentially, he just can't hear its beautiful music, and so he just quits. But he used to also be known for being very methodical. He used to stick to the score exactly as it was written and didn't stray from it at all. No mistakes, just exactly what was on the sheet of paper. And then one day he meets this girl who's a violinist, and she kind of forces him to become her to accompany him. I can't apparently get that word out. Anyways, to accompany her for a competition that she's doing, but he hasn't played in years, and is still super nervous, still can't hear anything, but essentially over time she starts to bring him out and, help him get back into playing the piano, essentially. The story is so much more beautiful than that. The artwork is gorgeous. The music is great. You should watch it. Number 4, I should probably use this hand since there's all this empty space over here. Number 4, Blast of Tempest. So it's been a while since I have watched Blast of Tempest, and after some time, stories can get a little foggy in my head, but Blast of Tempest, like, I super duper enjoyed it when I watched it. In fact, I'm thinking right now I might go and rewatch because I really liked it and I don't want to forget it. So, anyways, it actually pulls in Hamlet a little bit, because the characters reference The Tempest and Hamlet. Did I say Hamlet? I meant to say brings in Shakespeare. That's what I was trying to say. Anyways, it references Shakespeare's Hamlet and The Tempest, and both are tragedies, and the characters recognize that and essentially reference their story as being a tragedy, but they're always like, is our tragedy going to wind up being one like, Hamlet, where it's pretty much terrible in the end, or is it going to be like The Tempest, where it's a tragedy, but not everything's lost. Not everything's terrible in the end. Now, admittedly, it's been a long time since I've read Hamlet, and I have not read The Tempest, though also thinking about it, I should probably go do that. Educate myself. Anyways, so not to make you think that it's all this like Shakespearean tragedy sort of show. It's like fantasy, sci-fi-ish. Like it's essentially like modern day, but there are there is magic. There's magic, and it's not like widespread magic. It's just like sort of like certain groups have magic, essentially. Anyways, so there's this whole thing going down, and so yeah, I need to rewatch it. The story is becoming a little foggy in my head. So, anyways, but when I watched it, loved it. So definitely recommend going and watching it. I'm going to watch it again, so I'm not so foggy on it. But moving on, number 3. Okay, let me make sure I get this right. There are multiple A's. Barakomon, something like that. It is on Hulu, not on Crunchyroll. Your Lie in April is on Crunchyroll. Blast of Tempest is on Crunchyroll. Barakomon is on Hulu. It's about a calligrapher, like a guy who is competitive in doing so, and essentially at the start, he gets first place, but one of the judges, who I believe he really looks up to, and a judge who is also an older man, essentially says, yeah, your calligraphy's kind of elementary, you know. It essentially saying that it fits exactly what they're taught in elementary school that it should look like, but that's about it. There's no feeling, nothing special about his work. And so the guy gets mad and socks the old man and gets in trouble for it. So he gets sent off to this island. Like, he's always lived in the big city, and now he's sent off to this island where it's pretty old school. I say old school, like, they don't have all the technological conveniences. He lives in a traditional house. There's kids running around and playing outside in nature and things like that. And there's this one girl who is absolutely hysterical. Like you're used to little kids being like, they absorb what other people say around them and spit it out, even though they don't necessarily know what it is. And so from the mouths of little kids comes hilarious things. So it's just a super duper adorable, I say adorable, it's not like cutesy, but it's a super down to earth, I want to say heartwarming anime. So anyways, I super enjoyed it. That came out, I think, last year. And both my husband and I enjoyed it. My husband, as a side note, has never really been into anime per se. He'll watch it if someone else is, but that doesn't even necessarily mean he enjoys it. He enjoyed Barakomon and Your Lie in April. So that's saying anything. He didn't watch Blast of Tempest. So yeah. Anyways, Barakomon, check it out. Number 2. This has been on my list for a long time. Like, essentially my number 2 and my number 1 are kind of tied. I like them both for different reasons, and they're both different. So number 2 is Ouran High School Host Club. So I'm a girl. I can enjoy cheesy shoujo anime from time to time, and I do enjoy it. I mean, admittedly, if you've looked at my list so far, they're all a bit more on the shoujo track. I say that. Balls of Tempest and Barakomon, I keep stumbling over that. Anyways, aren't particularly shoujo. Your Lie in April is more shoujo-ish. And Ouran High School Host Club, many people are like, that's a shoujo, I'm not watching it. But it's a shoujo that makes fun of other shoujo. Like, it's just hysterical. It takes all the things that typically happen, and they happen, but they also kind of like, they acknowledge that it's kind of ridiculous. Like, just in the first episode, it's like, okay, so there's this girl who looks like a guy, and, like, you know, people mistake her for being a guy, and then she winds up disguising herself as a guy more purposefully. But, like, just in the first episode, like, she steps into this host club, and the guys are all, like, flowery, and and all this ridiculousness. And, you know, then they're like, oh, you're a guy, what are you doing here? And she just doesn't correct them. And so they're like, oh, maybe you swing this way, huh? And then she, like, winds up tripping on a banana peel, which the banana peel is on screen, and there's an arrow going ding, 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 ding. So it's, like, very obviously pointing out what's gonna happen. Like, it's not like a, oh, look at this banana. Yeah, we know we obviously put it in frame, but what? We don't know what it's doing there. It's there's a banana in frame, and we're making sure you notice. There's an expensive vase in frame. We're making sure you realize what's about to happen. It's just being ridiculous. And because of that, it's hilarious. I love it. And I can't think of it too many times specifically where they break the fourth wall and all, but they definitely acknowledge it. And so it's just hilarious. Like, it's a cute story, but it's also hilarious because it's making fun of the typical shoujos as well, while being one. So, I just really enjoy it. It's hilarious, and I like comedy, so romantic comedy works. Moving on to number 1. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Yes, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Okay, so, when I started reading manga and all, I had a friend who, well, I had 2 friends, they were siblings. One went to school with me, was in the same grade, and the other was younger and homeschooled. And so the brother would always bring me manga from his sister. And so we had like a drug exchange where he would bring in, to protect the manga, like 2 to 3 volumes in a gallon Ziploc bag and like hand them to me at school and be like, here's your goods. So, yeah, we joked about that quite a bit. But anyways, all that to say, she owned like the entire series up to the point it had come out at, too. And whenever a new one came out, she got it promptly. And so, like, I started reading Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood because she was loaning them to me, and I was barreling through them, reading one after another. And the series is dark. The series is dark. Don't get me wrong, it's dark. But there's so much comedy in it as well that, like, you go from one moment where you're just like, oh, and then the next moment you're laughing your head off at something. So I love the way where it's like, it is dark and kind of depressing at times, but it doesn't leave you in that like state. Like, it turns it right around and has you laughing. It's hilarious, and the story is so well written. I specify Brotherhood for those who don't know because I read the manga, loved it, and when I tried to watch the original anime, couldn't do it. Like, within, I think I only watched like 8 episodes, and I could already tell that they were changing things. Now, admittedly, only like half the series was out at the time, so what were they supposed to do? They could make fillers and wait for the story to continue and then, you know, jump back into that. Or they could make up the rest of the story. And that's what they did. And in my opinion, it did not wind up being as good of a story as what was written in the manga. So, when Brotherhood was announced, I was like, yes! I was like, they're gonna actually stick to the manga? This is amazing! This is amazing! So, it moves pretty quickly. There are 64 4-ish episodes in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And there are, what's it, 23 volumes? Something like that. So you're looking at like 2 to 3 episodes per volume. Or maybe it was 27 volumes. Anyways, you're looking at 2 to 3 episodes per volume. And so that's cramming a decent amount of story into an episode. So the story moves along pretty progressively. And it's just a really good story. I really don't know what else I can say other than go watch it. The first 50-ish episodes are on Netflix. I don't believe they had the last 13, 14, whatever episodes up on there, and for some reason they haven't in over a year or two. So that's sad, but most of it's all on Netflix, and I'm sure the rest of it is findable elsewhere. Orange High Schools Club is also on Netflix. Yeah, it's still there. So, yeah. This was another long video. Sorry about that, but I'm ranting about my favorite anime. So, yeah, whatever. Hope you enjoyed. If you have watched any of those, feel free to let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you check them out after having watched my recommendation, also let me know what you think. We don't have to have the same opinions, and feel free to tell me what your favorite is down in the comments. I'd love to find out, and if I haven't seen it, check it out. So anyways, nice seeing you, and talk to you later.